Pentagon officials here in Washington already know who won that $35 billion tanker contract, but it looks like that announcement will remain secret until the very end. A huge disappointment for the Mobile aerospace community, the port city, and for EADS North America.
The Mobile Bay Bears looking to get back on the winning track tonight.
This is not just tar balls that have washed ashore. This is heavy, thick oil as far as the eye can see.
But we are starting to see that storm surge come in here in Biloxi.
They expressed disappointment and concern over the Air Force's decision.
We're only about 2 miles from Dolphin Island, and from what we can see, it looks all right now. There's no sheen, there's no oil. The Coast Guard has been out farther than that, but they say they haven't spotted anything either.
Well, Devin, this is what we know right now. Mobile police say a suspect walked into this bank you see behind me here around 11 a.m. this morning and fired 2 shots into the ceiling, demanded cash, and took off.
We wanted to put Goodson's idea to the test, so here we go. We got our water, we got our oil, and we've got our hay. Let's see what happens.
We poured in the oil, gave it a good stir, then in goes the hay.
It looks like the hay worked. It got most of the oil out of the water. There is still a little bit of sheen left.
Prosecutor Ashley Rich expects this to be a long trial. She says it could go into next week. We will continue to cover this trial and bring you the latest details. We will have more on today's jury selection coming up tonight on News 5 at 6.
So what's being done to protect you, the consumer? We took that question to the state banking department here in Montgomery.
I've covered a lot of storms over the years, and I have not seen devastation like this since Hurricane Katrina. We are here on Dr. Martin Luther King Avenue in the Leakesville community, and when you look around, it is hard to believe your eyes. Neighbors tell me when the storm moved in last night, they heard the sirens go off in town, heard a loud roar, that within just a matter of minutes, their neighborhood, where many have lived their entire lives, destroyed. And just to give you an idea of how bad this damage is, we have trees uprooted, houses torn apart. This is all that's left of many of them. Some homes even tossed across the street. And no one is more devastated than Deborah Hill's family. She was killed in the storm. This is all that's left of her home. I spoke to her family. They tell me they take comfort knowing she was a religious woman with a deep faith. The Red Cross is also here today. They tell me that about 80 homes have been affected by this storm, about 80 homes damaged. They have set up a shelter at the local community center in town, so if you need help, you can go there, and the Red Cross is there to help you. For now, reporting in Leakesville, Kimberly Curth, News 5.
News 5's Kimberly Curth joins us now live from Cedar Point, where she has spent the day talking to locals. Kimberly, what's the feeling there?
Well, folks down here will tell you they never thought they would see anything worse than Hurricane Katrina, but they never expected to see an oil spill either. We talked with one bait shop owner who fears this catastrophe could do him in. Mac McRae's Pier and Bait Shop has taken a beating over the years thanks to hurricane after hurricane. Katrina wiped him out.
Nothing was left except a few pilots gathered around.
But Mac was able to rebuild.
In about a week, you're gonna see all over the place.
This time, he doesn't think he'll be able to get back on his feet.
I looked out and I said, you know, the weather's bad, it looks like a hurricane, but the thing about Katrina and all of them that were coming this way, I knew in 4 or 5 months I'd be back up and running.
Like a hurricane, Mac knows it's not a matter of if, but when the oil makes landfall.
I'm scheduled to have a boom around the pier, but when you have seas that are 2 to 3 feet, the boom is not going to do any good. And if they don't shut that valve off, I mean, this is beyond catastrophic. It's going to devastate so many people. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Generations and generations of fishermen, oystermen.
Do you think you're going to lose your business to this?
Oh, yes. And the thing about it, I have 3 large SBA loans that are drafted out of my account each month. And I don't know what, I don't want to go there because it's too tough.
The thought brings him to tears.
Get your fishing pole.
So for now, he's just going to enjoy the livelihood he loves so much while he still can. And Mac is not the only one who is worried. Just down the road in Heron Bay, you will find a similar story. Another bait shop owner who has had to rebuild his shop 4 times because of hurricanes. Now he is once again concerned for the future of his business. We will hear from him coming up tonight later in our show. For now, reporting live from Cedar Point, Kimberly Curth, News 5. Well, we had an exclusive one-on-one interview with EADS North America today about the Pentagon's announcement and whether or not they will protest the Air Force's decision. EADS North America is still trying to figure out what went wrong.
Our initial reaction was certainly disappointment for ourselves, but also for Mobile. I mean, we have a strong partnership with Mobile and feel that very personally.
We sat down with the company's spokesman for an exclusive one-on-one interview just one day after the Pentagon announced Boeing beat EADS in their bid to build refueling tankers for the Air Force.
I think what we can tell you is Boeing was a clear winner.
We were the only local crew at the Pentagon when that announcement was made. EADS was very confident that they had the better plane at the better price. Do you anticipate that they will protest? And if they do, what would that mean for the production timeline?
As I indicated, the unsuccessful offerer has the opportunity to pursue a protest if they think they have the grounds. We think we've put together a process that was fair, open, and transparent, and that does not provide grounds for a protest.
Will EADS protest this decision?
It's too premature to say. I mean, right now, first of all, we have to understand, how did the process unwind? Do we have any questions or concerns? And frankly, can we, we'd like to understand more completely, how the decision was arrived at.
While EADS won't say whether or not they will protest until after that debriefing, they do tell us they want to know why Boeing was the clear winner. And my sources tell me that Pentagon debriefing will happen Monday. EADS will then have 10 days to decide whether or not they will protest the Air Force's decision to the Government Accountability Office. For now, reporting live from Washington, Kimberly Curth, News 5.
Most of Leakesville is literally wiped away.
News 5's Kimberly Curth spoke to the family of a woman who was killed when the tornado tossed her mobile home across the street. She continues our live team coverage from Leakesville. Kimberly, what's the latest?
Mel, Roseanne, this is a small community with a deep faith in God, and neighbors tell me it is that faith that will get them through this tragedy. In fact, if you take a look behind me now, you will see neighbors helping neighbors, trying to salvage what they can after this disaster, and no one is more devastated than Deborah Hill's family. Deborah was killed last night in the storm. Tonight, we talk with her grieving family. This is all that's left of Deborah Hill's Leakesville home. She was killed when an EF3 tornado picked up her mobile home and tossed it across the street.
Tornado came and took her trailer from one side to the other and demolished it. And when they found it, she was laying over a tree.
Hill's sister-in-law says she had just returned home not even 15 minutes before the storm tore through her neighborhood on Dr. Martin Luther King Avenue.
Unfortunately, she was found in my yard dead.
You grew up with her?
I did.
You've got to just be devastated.
It's heartbreaking.
Hill's neighbor, Tamika Brown.
This is my home right here, where me and my family resided.
Ran for cover with her family.
We ran to the left side where the master bedroom is. We got into the master bathroom, closed the door, locked it, and got into the bathtub until it passed over.
How many of you guys were in the bathtub?
4.
Brown says it only took minutes to destroy her childhood neighborhood.
It's unreal, and like I say, this is something that, yes, you do see on TV, but it does happen. This is to show you that it does happen in other places.
What are you guys going to do?
I don't know. I'm just thankful for being alive right now.
As hard as it is for Hill's family,
Amen. We believed and knew that she was an individual that believed God and she was praying.
They take comfort knowing their Deborah was a religious woman.
She is present with God now.
With a strong faith. And this is a sight you will see throughout this small town. Snapped utility poles, down power lines, and destroyed homes. The Red Cross says about 80 homes were damaged in last night's storm. That is why they have set up a shelter at the Leakesville Community Center. So if you need help tonight, that is where you can go. We will have much more on the devastation here in Leakesville coming up in the special edition of News 5 at 6. But for now, reporting live in Leakesville, Kimberly Curth, News 5.
Billy White says his little boy's health is now at risk, all because of a sewage problem he says his landlord won't fix.
My son was out here on Easter Sunday playing with all the other kids hunting Easter eggs and chasing each other, and my son fell in a septic tank that had blown the lid open from the raw sewage running out.
This is home video White shot of his 4-year-old son Trevor after that fall.
All the way up to his waist where he fell through the sewage tank.
Before he was taken to the hospital. Now White's worried his son could contract a handful of diseases or worse.
Luckily, there was somebody out here. Had there not been somebody out here, he could have drowned and died right there. That is why I'm so upset.
White showed us the problem. Raw sewage is overflowing in his yard and next door.
I've asked my landlord for 8 months to fix this sewage that's running over on the ground. Constantly he's told me, clean your yard up and I'll fix the sewage. Well, I've cleaned it up. Once I get it cleaned up, he rides by and tells me, you're doing a good job, rides in, rides out, and I don't hear anything else out of him.
He even filed this complaint with the Mobile County Health Department about the raw sewage and asked someone to help ASAP. The health department tells us they did find a failing sewage system here and raw sewage on the ground. Does this pose a health risk?
Oh, obviously. Anytime that you've got raw sewage on the ground, that's the whole reason we have septic tank systems in the first place.
We wanted to know what White's landlord had to say about this mess.
This is Kimberly Curth with WKRG News 5.
So we gave him a call.
Can you make any comments regarding the raw sewage issue there in between lot 18 and 19 and the fact that a child has fallen into a septic tank?
No, ma'am, I can't comment. I'm sorry.
White's landlord says he's been advised by his attorney to not comment. As for White, he says he really can't afford to move, but says he has no choice. He says his son can't live like this.
My son shouldn't have to play in sewage because I won't clean my yard up.